Hi there. Welcome to Jamie Flows. I'm Jamie, and today I have a 50-minute vinyasa flow practice for you. I'm just going to suggest a couple of things at the start. If you have water bottles, books, yoga blocks are amazing. If you have anything that will help bring the floor a little closer to you, grab two. We're going to be moving all around our mat today. We'll be facing the front, we'll be facing the back, we'll be facing the sides. So it might be handy to have one of your props at the back of your mat and one at the front of your mat. The second thing I'm going to recommend is a pillow or a cushion, something with just a little bit of density in it. If you don't have any of these things, that's okay. You're going to be just fine. Just adjust as you need, look after yourself, and let's get started. Come to lie down on your mat. Take up space if you have it. Just get nice and settled in, getting any wiggles out if you need them. And then find some stillness just for a brief moment here. Just take stock of how your body's showing up for you today. Take a quick body scan, head to toe, noticing any areas of tension or tightness. Can you melt anything further into the mat? And then let's take a few deep breaths. So take a big inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Take another one just like that. And then return to your natural rhythm of breath. Maybe start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, just waking the body up ever so gently. Gradually making those movements a little bigger, circling through your wrists and ankles. And then reach your arms up overhead, point your toes forward, take a big full body stretch. And then walk your feet over to the bottom right corner of your mat. Keep your hips where they are. Just shimmy your shoulders over to the top right corner of your mat, making a nice banana shape with your body. You might cross your left ankle over your right. Just breathe in to the side stretch. And then uncross your ankles if they're crossed. Start to shimmy your shoulders and your feet back through center. And just take it to the other side. So feet go to the bottom left corner, shoulders go to the top left corner. Maybe one ankle crosses over the other. Take a breath in. And then release the cross of your ankles. Walk everything back to center. And bring your knees into your chest. Reach for the front of your shins. Maybe rock side to side. Massage your low back. And then interlace your hands around your right shin. Send the sole of your left foot up to the ceiling. So lengthen through that left leg. Flex through your toes as you slowly lower that leg to the mat. Pull your right knee out and in towards your armpit. Maybe circle through your ankle. Find some movement in the joint. And then we'll take a half happy baby. So reach for the outer blade edge of your right foot, maybe the back of your thigh or your big toe, wherever you can reach on your right leg, and pull your right knee in towards your right armpit. The sole of your foot goes to the ceiling. Try not to let your left hip lift off the earth. And then release the grip you have with your right hand. Take your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Guide your knee across your body. Take a reclined twist. So your chest stays facing the ceiling. Try to keep your right shoulder grounded. Your left hand just rests gently on your right knee, nothing to force. And then inhale, roll back to center. Bring your left knee in to meet your right. Give yourself a squeeze again, and then we'll go to the other side. So interlace your hands around your left shin. Send the sole of your right foot to the ceiling. Flex your toes, and then slowly lower that leg all the way to the earth. Once it lands, pull your left knee out slightly and then back towards your armpit. Take some movement in the ankle if it feels good. And then we'll take half happy baby on this side. So wherever you can reach on the left leg, the sole of your left foot goes up to the sky. Your knee is traveling towards your armpit. Maybe place your right hand on the front of your right hip, just to intentionally keep that hip on the earth. And then release the foot. Take your twist. Guide your left knee across your body. Try to keep your left shoulder grounded. That might mean that your left knee stays high off the earth. That's all right. You might look up at your ceiling. You might look over the left shoulder. And then on your next inhale, you'll roll back to center. Bring your right knee in to meet your left. Reach for the backs of your thighs, cross your ankles, and then rock and roll a few times up and down the length of your spine. Give your spine a nice massage before you sit up. Plant your hands, roll over your shins, and walk your knees back to a tabletop position. So find your neutral tabletop, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and then we'll move through a few cat and cows. So inhale for your cow, exhale for cat. Your inhale drops your belly, take your gaze to your ceiling. Exhale, round into your spine and tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. And then add any additional movement that feels good here. So you can stick with traditional cat and cow, or maybe you take some circles in the hips. Maybe it feels nice to sink your hips back towards your heels. Maybe you take some figure eights. Take one more round of breath. And we'll meet back in a tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, tuck your toes, hover your knees, press your hips back, downward facing dog. And then add whatever movement feels good here. You might like to pedal the legs. You might like to sway your hips side to side. Rise to the balls of your feet and lower your heels. Use your intuition to guide you here. Take what your body needs. And then find stillness in your down dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward in between your hands, and exhale, step to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift with a flat back. Exhale, ragdoll. Let your belly fall towards your thighs. You might grab opposite elbows. Bend your knees a lot here and send more weight into the balls of your feet. You might like to interlace your hands behind you and then let your hands travel up towards the ceiling or over your head. Just get an additional shoulder opening here. And then release your hands to the earth. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, slowly rise to stand. Keep your chin tucked into your chest until you are upright. Sweep your arms up overhead, palms touch, and then bring your hands to heart center. Take a moment to set your intention here. And then we'll start to move again. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to a high plank. You can lower your knees at any time. Otherwise, your hips are in line with your shoulders. Press the floor away with your hands. Inhale. Exhale, lower your knees, untuck your toes, and then lower your chin in your chest. Keep looking forward. Inhale, lower your hips, lift your chest, baby cobra. Keep your neck long, and then relax your forehead to the mat. Press yourself back up through a tabletop, tuck your toes, and then send your hips back, find your downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Again, inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, forward fold with a flat spine. Inhale, look forward, halfway lift. Exhale, step back, high plank. You're welcome to lower to your knees again, or this time maybe you take chaturanga and lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Your flow is your choice at any time during our practice today. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, arms reach up and overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale again, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to a plank, move through your flow. Inhale for your back bend, pull your shoulders away from your ears, and then exhale, send your hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep your right leg high behind you, and then exhale, bend your knee, yawn your hip open. So your right hip stacks on top of your left, and then take some movement, maybe in your ankle or your hip. Try to keep pulling your right shoulder toward the mat, and then inhale, extend that leg behind you. Exhale, step that right foot forward in between your hands. Lower your left knee to the mat. Bring your hands to the top of your right thigh. Rise upright. Find your low lunge. Sink forward into your hips, but tuck your tailbone under to get rid of any arch in your low back. Inhale. Exhale, half splits. Lengthen through your right leg. Send your hips back. Flex your right toes towards your face. Keep a nice long spine. And then rebend that right knee. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Reach for your left wrist, and as you exhale, bend over to the right. Take a side bend, maybe look up past your left elbow, and then rise back to center. Plant your hands, tuck your left toes, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step to a plank. Take your flow, your version. You're welcome to skip these at any time and head straight to a downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep your left leg high. Exhale, bend your knee, yawn your hip open. Take some movement here. Keep pressing into both hands equally. And then inhale, re-lengthen your left leg. Exhale, step it forward. Lower your right knee. And then rise upright, interlacing your hands, bringing them to the top of your left thigh. So again, sink forward into your hips, but tuck your tailbone. You'll notice a different sensation in your right hip flexor when you do that. And then find your half splits. Hips go back. Left leg lengthens, but you can still have a bend in that knee. Inhale. Exhale, rebend the left knee. Come back to your low lunge. Inhale, reach both arms up overhead. Grab your right wrist and then exhale, bend over to the left. Inhale, rise back through center. Release your hands to the earth. Tuck your right toes. Lift your right knee. Step forward to a fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Hands come to heart center. Inhale, arms reach up overhead and then sink your hips as you exhale. Find a chair pose. So you can have your big toes together or feet can be hip distance, whatever feels better for you. But try to send more weight into your heels. Pretend as if you're trying to sit into a chair that's been pulled out from underneath you. Inhale. And then exhale, forward fold. Lengthen through your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Step back to a plank. Take a flow. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, send your heart forward. Exhale to send your hips back. Inhale, lift your right leg high behind you. Exhale, step your right foot forward. Step your left foot in, plant your left heel, toes turn out 45 degrees, and then inhale, rise up for warrior one. Hips are square to the front of your mat. Press into the outer blade edge of your left foot. So your left leg is still super strong here. Inhale. And then exhale, cactus your arms. Lift your heart towards the ceiling. Interlace your hands behind your low back, keeping the lift of your chest. And then exhale, fold forward for your humble warrior. Your right shoulder comes to the inside of your right knee. You're still pressing into the outer blade edge of your left foot. Your hands might stay at your low back. They may travel over your head. Does not matter. And then inhale, lift up halfway. Keep the bind if you can, but you can lose it at any time. Spin to the ball of your left foot and then come to a warrior three. So your left leg kicks along behind you. You can always bring your hands to heart center. Option to reach for a block beneath you for a supported warrior three. But think about baby cobra in your upper body. So your heart's still moving forward. Kick through your heel, flex through your toes. And then slowly, slowly, slowly lower your left toes to the back of your mat. Spin your heel down, cartwheel your arms open, warrior two. Bend deeply into your front knee. Gaze over your front middle finger. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. And then inhale, lengthen through your front leg, reach up, star pose. Turn your heels in, toes out, and then sink your hips for goddess. You can keep your hands at heart center or maybe take cactus arms. Pull your knees back in space. You want them tracking over your toes. Inhale, star pose, lengthen everything. And then exhale, warrior two to the back of your mat. So take a deep bend in your left knee this time. Press firmly into your right foot. Inhale, flip your left palm, take a reverse warrior. So keep the bend in your left knee, but reach up and back as much as you can with your left arm. And then bring your arms back to a T, straighten your left leg, setting up for a triangle. Inhale, reach forward as far as you can, and then exhale. Tick-tock your arms to 6 and 12 o'clock. Maybe grab the block at the back of your mat or the water bottle. It helps bring the floor closer to you so you can stack your right shoulder on top of your left shoulder. Gaze can be up, or if it doesn't feel good for your neck, you can gaze down or straight ahead. And then look down at your left toes. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Walk your block about 6 inches in front of your left foot and find your half moon. Launch your right leg into the air. Open your right hip so it stacks on top of your left. And maybe lift your right arm to the ceiling. Keep a soft bend in your left knee. Flex through your right toes. Keep kicking through that right heel. Inhale and exhale, forward fold. Your right foot meets your left. You're now facing the back of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to a plank. Find a flow or head straight to downward facing dog. Take a breath in your downward dog. And then inhale, sweep your right leg high again. Exhale, step it forward, plant it in between your hands. Plant your left foot to the earth, setting up for your warrior one on this side again, facing the back of your mat, and then inhale to rise. Inhale. Exhale again, cactus your arms, lift your chest. This time reach for opposite elbows behind you. Keep that lift of your chest. And then lengthen through your right leg. So we're setting up for a pyramid here. Inhale. And then exhale, hinge forward, keeping a flat spine, keeping the bind behind you if you can. Just pause when you start to feel that hamstring stretch. Keep your left foot planted. Press into the heel of your right foot. And then you can release the bind and round into your spine. Let your belly fall over your thigh. Let your head hang. Your hands can frame your right foot. Inhale to look forward. Start bending into that right knee. Walk your hands forward. Find a standing splits. Kick your left leg high. Your upper body is hanging low. The crown of your head is facing the earth. Can you engage that left glute a little more to lift that leg a little higher? And then exhale, Shiva squat. Bring your left knee to the back of your right calf. So you'll lift halfway with your spine. You might keep your hands on the earth. You might bring them to heart center. You really have to fire up the right glute for that. And then slowly step your left toes back. Plant your left hand to the earth. And then inhale, reach your right arm up. Find an easy twist. Inhale. Exhale, take your right arm, thread it underneath your left, turn to the left. You're going to turn all 10 toes to face that side of your mat, and then take a deep bend into your left knee. Find a side lunge. Maybe you sink your hips towards your heel. Maybe you stay up high with your hands at heart center. Sink your hips back. And then take it to the other side. Inhale through center, and then exhale as you bend deeply into your right knee. You can either stay up high in a side lunge or sink your hips towards your right heel for Skandasana. You can keep your hands on the earth for support or bring your hands to heart center for balance. And then press into that right foot to rise back up through center. Turn to the front of your mat. Find a high lunge. So you're back high on the ball of your right foot. Arms up overhead. Deep bend in your left knee. Inhale. And then sweep your right arm underneath your left. Find your eagle arms. You can either reach for opposite shoulders or wrap your palms around to touch. Inhale to lift your elbows. And then exhale, start to shift your weight forward into your left leg. Step forward, lift your right knee, cross your right leg over your left. Find your eagle pose. So your right toes can be on the earth. They can hover or they can wrap around your left calf. Keep sinking your hips a little lower while you lift your elbows a little higher. Your shoulders stay stacked over your hips. And then release, reach up, unwind. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Take a flow or head straight to downward facing dog. Take a breath in your down dog. And we'll move to the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg high behind you. Exhale, step it forward, plant it in between your hands. Plant your right foot. Inhale, rise up for your warrior one. Inhale. Exhale, cactus your arms, lift your chest, look up, pull your elbows back in space, and then release your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, pull your knuckles towards your back heel, and then exhale, hinge forward, humble warrior. Let your head hang in your humble warrior. Your right hip's going to want to open. Can you pull it forward? Can you keep pressing into the outer blade edge of your right foot? Inhale, lift your chest up off of your thighs. Try to keep the bind if you can as you move into warrior three. So your right leg lifts behind you. Keep a soft bend in your left knee. You're welcome to lose the bind and take any other arm variation, or maybe use the block in front of you for support. Create that nice, beautiful capital T shape. Kick through your back heel. And then lower your back toes to the earth. Open up warrior two. Deep bend in your left knee. Shoulders are stacked over your hips. Make sure your left knee is tracking over your middle toes and not collapsing in. Inhale, star pose. Lengthen through your front leg. Turn all 10 toes to face the right side of your mat. Turn your heels in, toes out, and then sink your hips. Find your goddess pose. Same options here. Hands can be at heart center, or you can cactus your arms. Can you sink your hips a little bit lower? Inhale, star pose. Lengthen your legs. Turn your right toes to face the back of your mat. Bend into your right knee. Warrior two, facing the back of your mat. Keep your gaze, keep your focus. Inhale, reverse. Flip your right palm, sweep it to the back of the room. Left hand either rests gently on your left thigh or wraps around your back. Inhale. And then exhale, straighten your front leg. Step your left foot in slightly. Bump your hips to the back of the room. Reach your right fingertips forward. And then tick-tock into your triangle pose. Again, you can use a block here under your right hand. Keep breathing. And then look down, bring your left hand to your left hip. Grab your block if you weren't using it. Stick it under your right hand. Find your half moon. Your hips open up. Your left hip stacks on top of right. Left leg is super strong. If you want to challenge your balance, maybe try to hover your right fingertips. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold at the back of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Take a flow. Inhale for your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhale, sweep your left leg high. Exhale, step it through, plant it in between your hands, set up for warrior one on this side again. Inhale to rise. Try to find something new here. This pose may feel familiar. Maybe it's in your shoulders. See if you can relax your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, and then cactus your arms, lift your chest. Release your hands behind you, reach for opposite elbows, and then lengthen through your front legs, set up for your pyramid pose. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward. Pause as soon as you feel the stretch in your left hamstring. Gaze is down just in front of your mat. Press into your left heel. Keep pulling your left hip back. And then you can release the bind, release your hands to frame your left foot, and let your belly fall over your thigh. You can keep a bend in your left knee here for your pyramid. Look forward, bend into the left knee, walk your hands forward, standing splits, kick your right leg high. Now either point or flex that foot. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter how high the leg is. It just matters that it's super strong, super long. So engage the glute, engage your quad. Can you lift that leg a little bit higher? Inhale. Exhale, Shiva squat. Your right knee comes to the back of your left calf. Maybe you bring your hands to heart center, find the balance. And then slowly step your right toes to the back, land into a lunge, plant your right hand, lift your left, find your easy twist. Inhale. Exhale, thread your left arm underneath your right. Turn to face the left side of your mat and bend into your right knee, finding either a side lunge or Skandasana. It doesn't matter how high your hips are off of the ground, but keep a proud chest. And then rise through center and bend over into the left knee. Inhale. Press into that left foot, rise through center, turn all 10 toes to face the front. Now you're in a high crescent lunge with your right leg forward. There's a deep bend in your right knee. You're high on the ball of the left foot. Arms are lifted overhead. Inhale. Exhale. This time sweep your left arm under your right. Find your variation of your eagle arms. Inhale to lift your elbows. Maybe take a baby back bend. And then shift forward. Lift your left knee. Cross it over your right. If you need to take 10 steps to get there, that is okay. Once you're there, sink your hips. Lift your chest. Lift your elbows. Focus your gaze, find your balance, squeeze your thighs in towards each other. And then release, unwind, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to a plank, move through a flow. You can also skip it. That is a great option as well. Once you land in your down dog, take a couple of breaths here, in through the nose, maybe sigh it out through your mouth. Take a pause, take a reset. And then inhale, look forward, bend your knees. Exhale, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, round 2. Sink your hips down and back. Reach your arms forward. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. And then lengthen your legs. Hands come to heart center. Take a breath in and let it go. Bring your feet to hip width distance. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Grab your big toes with your peace fingers. Keep a bend in your knees. As you inhale, lengthen through your spine, lengthen through your arms. And then exhale, pull your belly to your thighs. Let your elbows move out to either side. And again, we're not going for straight legs here, so bend as much as you need to try to get your belly onto your thighs. Relax your head. Shake your head yes and no. Release your hands from your feet. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, lower your hands to the earth and just step back to a downward facing dog. Lower your knees to the mat. Let's take a child's pose. Knees can be out wide. Sink your hips back towards your heels. Relax your forehead to the mat. Let's try to slow the heart rate here. So focus on trying to extend your exhales. Keep breathing in and out through your nose. And then on your next inhale, look forward. Walk your hands back towards you. Rise up onto your hands and knees. Spin your feet out to the side. Come to your seat and then swing your legs around to the front. Scooch forward so you're sitting in the middle of your mat. Make sure you're sitting up on your sits bones. Knees are bent, feet are planted. Hands find the back of your thighs. Let's come into our boat pose, Navasana. So your shins come parallel to the earth. You can leave your hands on the back of your thighs or you can reach them forward. Chest is proud. And then we lower all the way to our backs as slow as you can. Extend your legs. Embrace the shakes. 3, 2, 1. Release everything to the earth. Bend into your knees. Walk your feet in close to your seat. Arms are by your side. Palms face down. Setting up for our bridge pose. Make sure your feet are hip width distance. Toes pointing forward. And then inhale, press into your heels. Lift your hips. Find your bridge pose. You're welcome to stay right here or maybe interlace your hands underneath you. Snuggle your shoulders together underneath you. And then use that connection to send your hips higher and send your chest further towards the back. Release the bind if you have it and slowly lower one vertebra at a time all the way to the earth. Bring your feet about as wide as your mat and then just windshield wiper your legs. So knocking one knee in and then the other. And then we'll set up for round 2. Walk your feet into hip width distance. Make sure your heels are close to your glutes. You're welcome to do a second set of bridge, or maybe you go to full wheel this time. Bring your hands to either side of your ears. Press into your heels to lift your hips. Come to the crown of your head. And then lengthen through your arms, lengthen through your legs. Keep pressing into your heels to send your chest to the back of your space. Maybe walk your feet in closer. Take one more breath in. And then slowly lower to the crown of your head, the backs of your shoulders. And then land your hips to the earth. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe rock side to side. And then we'll take a happy baby. So reach for the outer blade edges of your feet or the backs of your thighs, wherever you can reach on your legs. Just try to make sure that your tailbone stays flush to the mat. You're kicking into your hands at the same time you're pulling your knees into your armpits. Go ahead and release the feet. Cross your ankles, reach for the backs of your thighs, rock and roll. We're here again. Take a few back and forth. And then come to a seat. Roll over your shins. Plant your hands. Walk your knees back to a tabletop. Tuck your toes and send your hips back to a downward facing dog. From here, inhale, sweep your right leg high. And exhale, we find half pigeon. So your right knee comes to the back of your right wrist. Your left knee lowers. Walk your left leg back behind you. Rise upright. Get nice and long in your spine first as you inhale. And then exhale, fold forward. So there's a few options here. If it feels like you have to put a lot of effort into keeping your hips square, you might want to stick a block underneath your right hip or a pillow. If you need more out of this stretch, you can walk your torso towards the left. Keep pressing your right hip back. And just relax your hips. Relax your shoulders. Notice if you're holding any tension in your face. Can you let it go? Inhale to look forward. Walk your hands back in towards you. Stay right here in your pigeon. Just bend into your left knee and reach back for your foot with your left hand. So you don't have to catch it. You can just reach in the direction. But if you do catch it, pull that heel in close to your glute or towards your glute for a quad stretch. And then release that foot. Bring your both hands back in front of you. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, sweep your right leg back behind you. And then it might feel good to bend your right knee, maybe take it in a few circles. And then come back to your down dog. Other side. Inhale, left leg goes high. Exhale, find your half pigeon on the left side. Inhale to get nice and long in the spine. And exhale, fold forward. You might just come to your forearms. You might stick a block or a pillow under your forearms. You might relax your forehead all the way to the earth. Stay intentional here. So keep your attention on that sensation in your outer left hip. Noticing any time it might shift. Noticing if it starts to feel painful. In that case, you would just back on out of the stretch. Notice if you need to walk your torso to the right to get more out of the stretch. And then we rise on up. Bend into your right knee, reach back for your foot with your right hand. Same foot, same hand. If you catch the foot, just pull it in gently. Try not to pinch anything in your knee. So if this doesn't feel good, just let the foot go. And then release. Bring your hands back in front of you. Tuck your right toes. Lift your right knee. Swing your left leg back behind you. Bend and yawn it open. And then come back to your down dog. Lower to your knees. Again, spin your feet out to the side and come to your seat. Swing your legs in front of you. Keep your legs extended in front of you. grab your block or your pillow or your cushion and stick it about halfway down your mat just so you can reach it. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge forward. Fold over your legs. So your hands fall wherever they fall. Can be on your thighs, your shins, your feet, or just the earth. But if you've got the feet and you're pulling, make sure you're pulling your belly towards your thighs and you're not rounding into your spine. Inhale to release, walk your hands back towards your hips. Now reach forward. And then as you exhale, round into your back, lower all the way to the earth. Come to lie down. And then walk your feet in towards you, bend into your knees, plant your feet hip width distance. Like we're setting up for a bridge again. And then inhale to lift your hips, grab that pillow or cushion, slide it underneath your sacrum, and then relax your hips to rest. You can stay right here if this feels nice. If you want to take an inversion to end your practice, send the soles of your feet to the ceiling for legs up the wall. And then slowly return one foot to the earth and then the other. Once both feet are planted, lift your hips, slide that cushion out from underneath you, and release your hips back to the earth. Knees come into your chest, give yourself a squeeze. And then reach for your right shin, interlace your hands around the front of that shin, send your left leg out long. Let your right arm fall out to the side and then guide your right knee across your body. Just like we did in the beginning of our practice, take your twist. Notice if this feels any different than the first one. You can keep your gaze up at the ceiling or you can take it over your right shoulder. And then inhale, let's come back to center. Your left knee comes in to meet your right. And we'll just go straight to the other side. So send your right leg out long. Send your left arm out to the side. And then use your right hand to guide your left knee across your body. You might need to scoot your hips to the center of your mat so you can stack your left hip on top of your right. Just breathe deeply here. And then we'll come back. So come back to center. Your right knee comes in to meet your left. Give yourself one last big, loving squeeze. Pull your forehead into your knees. Scrunch up all the muscles on your face. And then let it all go. Send your legs out long. Rest your arms by your side. You've made it to your final resting pose. And I encourage you to stay here just for a few moments, especially if it's hard to sit in stillness. Can you practice embracing the stillness? Think of it as the one time of your day that you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to make any decisions. How liberating is that? come out of our Shavasana, we'll just start by taking some deep breaths. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, just gently waking the body up. When you're ready, taking a big full body stretch, just like we did in the beginning. And then pull your knees into your chest and just roll over to your favorite side. Just pick one. Pause in a fetal pose. Use your bicep as a pillow. And then press yourself up to a seat when you're ready. Just to seal off your practice, bring your hands to heart center. Give yourself a big thank you for coming to your mat. And you did it. Thank you so much, friends. Have an amazing day.